Of course, I had my mini helping me. He's always by my side, doing everything I do, and he's often helping in the kitchen, so I decided to let him help. I previously prepared all the ingredients so it will be easier for my mini to mix everything in the bowl. We measured and weighed every single item. I will put every item here, every ingredient that you need to put in your mix to make a perfect sourdough loaf. Don't worry if your first loaf or second or third is not perfect. It wasn't until my fourth attempt that my loaf was beautiful and tasty. I watched many videos, I read many books, and nothing was really helping me to improve my dough. It was always very wet and sticky, and when I tried to adjust the ingredients as per some suggestions in the books and the videos, I end up with very hard dough. The opposite. So I was being very frustrated every single attempt. So I kept researching of how to improve my dough, but I couldn't find the right answers. These two books on my counter were very helpful with the theory, and I was even able to make my sourdough starter from scratch. I will put all the information down below about these books so that you can acquire them if you're interested, as well as two videos that really helped me to improve my dough. One is by Ballerina Farm and the other one by Sourdough Enzo. I'll put their link below so you can follow them and check the recipe. When you finish adding all your ingredients in your bowl, I recommend you to do the last mixing with your hands. This will help to incorporate some air and will create the so desired bubbles in your dough. Cover and let it sit for 45 to 60 minutes. After the rest, wet your hands and start folding your dough. Right now, it looks shaggy and it doesn't have a lot of form, but you will form it as you fold it. Stretch and fold all the way around, and you'll start to see it looking better and better with every fold. Every time you feel your dough is getting too sticky, just wet your hands and continue folding. It will get better and better with every fold. Once you've done all the sides, pick it up and flip it over so the smooth side stays on top. Now, you will have to cover it and let it sit for 30 to 45 minutes. After the rest, you will perform the first coil fold. Lift the dough up with both your hands until one side is loose. Tuck it in itself and do the same with the back part. And do the same for the other sides. The goal is to create tension in your dough. And as I mentioned before, every time you feel your dough is getting too sticky, wet your hands and continue. Some people like to use flour to avoid stickiness, but I like the water method more. You will use what works better for you. After you're done folding all the sides, cover your dough and let it sit for 60 to 90 minutes this time. After the rest, wet your hands and perform the second coil fold, following the same procedures as before. By this point, you will notice your dough is getting very smooth and much more easier to manage. You will be able to perform the folds better. If you need to wet your hands to manage your dough, please do so. But your dough is gonna get less sticky every time. If you consider your dough is not growing in size and is not as manageable as it should be, let it sit for a little bit longer before you perform the folds. There's nothing wrong with letting your dough rest longer. Once you're done performing your folds for the second time, cover your dough and let it sit for 60 to 90 minutes. After the rest, wet your hands and perform the third coil fold. At this point, your dough should feel tighter. Make sure to have a zen and comfortable space for making your bread. Your dough will resent it if you feel frustrated or stressed out. Everything around you matters. The music, the environment, the light, everything. Put your dough to rest, give it some love, and when you open it, the size should be double than when you started. Clean and damp your countertop. Now it's time to pre-shape the dough. The goal now is to knock off the bubbles in your dough. You will eliminate them by using your wet fingers and pressing down to the dough, like massaging. Once you're done, you will pull and stretch the dough, creating a rectangle, folding from the bottom to the middle, and then from the top to the middle. You will create a long rectangle. This, you will start from the bottom or the top corner and roll it. Now we have to create tension, and we will do this by pushing the dough and pulling it towards you. It's easier if you watch the video and see how the motion is done. You just push and pull a few times and let it rest for 30 to 45 minutes on the countertop. Now it's time for its final shape. Sprinkle some flour on top of the dough and spread it with your hand. Once you have spread the flour all over the top, you are going to use a spatula or scraper to flip it over. Once flipped over, stretch your dough, creating a rectangle, and fold it to itself to create more tension. Something similar you did before with the pre-shaping, but this time we will make it tighter to create as much tension as possible. After the rolling, place it in a proofing basket or a regular basket with a linen under. I chose to do some stitching at the end to create even more tension. This is performed by pulling one side and another and crossing it with each other from side to side. Now place the basket in the fridge for 12 to 24 hours. After the rest, take it out of the fridge and place the dough on parchment paper. Sprinkle with some flour while the oven is preheating at 450 Fahrenheit degrees. Place the dough on a preheated skillet and bake for 30 minutes. Keep your oven light on to see the progress of your bread. You will know when it's ready when the top looks golden crusty. Once out of the oven, let it cool off for about 40 minutes before you cut and enjoy your masterpiece.